Yeah, they probably listened to ours and said, what could we do better and different? So that was our inspiration.
Like these guys, if they can do it, then we can, right?
Anybody can.
Anybody can. Oh, my God. Welcome to episode 185 of The Mashup, the best bourbon conversation you're going to hear all week long. We are your hosts, Stephen, Anthony, and Kenny. Hello, Kenny.
Hello, Anthony.
Hello, Kenny.
What's up, buddy?
Oh, okay, yeah. I should keep saying the same thing over and over again, should I?
Repeat.
Repeat.
Pete.
Oh,
Repeat.
Oh.
Pete and repeat.
My goodness. Well, sir, I'm excited that we are in the midst of a football season, and fall is on the horizon, even though the weather is still warm.
That's my season, man.
That's your season? You know what's funny? I think that I've talked to Stephen and Michael about football previously, but I don't know that you and I have ever really cut up on the podcast about football. Like, you got the pro team. Who do you care about? Do you care about the Bengals? Who do you care about? College UK, but you had that Florida Gators helmet around here for a while, whatever that was
Shannon's
about.
Helmet.
That's Shannon? Okay, all right.
No, man, I love football. I love just watching football.
Right.
UK, like watching UK.
Okay.
But pro, I just like, I don't have a set pro team.
Okay.
I just like watching NFL football. It's entertaining. It's really, really good.
Well, that's probably a good thing, because if you were like me, I'm a long-suffering Cleveland Browns fan.
Yeah.
And to be, I don't know, I guess in a position where your team hasn't really done much ever in your life, like, seriously, we're known for, like, other teams beating us. Like,
maybe LeBron should go play tight end for him.
Oh, wait a minute. Okay. You just opened a really big can of worms there, because the audience doesn't know this, but I'm just going to say this, right? In the episode that we had where we hung, right, it was just me, you, Mossick, and Steven hanging out.
Yeah.
The LeBron James conversation was a lot longer than what made it into the episode.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we talked about was the fact that would LeBron be able to take the hits in the NFL? There was a pretty good conversation about that, which would have needed,
or LeBron, which one?
LaFlop would have needed significant editing, but yes. But I'm just going to tell this quick story right now since we're talking about football. So when I was in college at Kent State, in my junior year, I moved off campus with two of my buddies, and we lived in like a fourplex. It was four different, I guess, like a townhouse connected by different walls. So next to us, there were three females, and I remember we moved in. They moved in around the same time. The other side of us was another group. The other part was like older guys that should have graduated, like the kind of like super senior college students. And so that was our fourplex when I was a junior in college. Well, it turns out one of the girls that lived next door to us was dating Antonio Gates. Really? You know Antonio Gates, like NFL tight end, Hall of Famer, the whole bit. So I remember like one time, because we all shared a driveway, like people like knock on our door, you got to move your car, you got to do this. I go outside, and Antonio Gates is standing there. Now, at this time, he's playing basketball for Kent State. He didn't play a down of college football. Did you know that?
Are you serious?
Yeah, no.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, Gates played no college football. He was a basketball player at Kent State. Yeah, only a basketball player, but I mean, he's really good, power forward. And so I remember I'm like out there moving my car. I see him. I'm like, hey, man, like, what's in the future for you? And he's like, well, I'm probably going to move back to Michigan. I'm getting my degree in education, probably going to like coach and teach high school. And I'm like, oh, cool. I'm like, well, best of luck with that, blah, 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 blah. It had to be not shortly thereafter that he went and just tried out at the NFL Combine, gets on with the Chargers, and then has like a Hall of Fame career. Right? So
he didn't play football in college?
He did not play a down of college football. He played in high school, and then he came to Kent State, basketball player, and so it's crazy. We're talking about football season. I'm thinking back to my time at Kent State, man. There's so many great people that I got to rub shoulders with over there, but I mean, that was one that was by chance. Like, who would ever thought Antonio Gates was going to be like, an NFL Hall of Famer?
And he didn't realize he was talking to a Hollywood movie star.
Kidding.
Mr. Sandler.
Oh my God. Just a lowly old college professor over here, right? Oh man, that was great. But I mean, this is just the time of the year where I'm like, I don't know. I get locked in. It's a change of the season. We've had so much heat here, and like football is just such a welcome change of pace, man.
I like the cooler weather, hoodie season.
Yeah.
In the fall, I love just the chilies, the soups, just the warm little food.
Yeah.
Football is great. Like, I could literally, just on a Sunday, can just veg out.
Yeah.
And just watch football all day.
It really.
But I mean, I like college football. That's the thing. I'm trying to. We are in the SEC.
Right.
And SEC is just some bad boy football.
Right, it is.
So, I mean, I can about enjoy watching some SEC football as much as watching NFL. I mean, NFL just is really, those guys are so fast. It's crazy.
I know.
So fast, so talented.
I know. It's a different level, but accompanying football season, I will tell you this, like, we had a discussion a while back when you yelled at me and told me I was a moron when I said
That's a pretty regular conversation.
Do you remember when I was worried about buying a smoker because I thought I was going to explode?
Oh gosh, yeah, you like legitimately thought that.
I thought I was going to turn this thing on. I was going to blow up on the back deck. Sorry, YouTube.
And that was just after you actually refused. You were too bougie to buy my used grill.
Oh yeah, you're never going to let me live that down, are you?
Nope.
Well, I'm glad that grill is being used and that it's actually something that is. Who has that grill now?
My buddy Jared got that.
Oh, nice. Well, Jared, I'm glad you got that grill. I did get a brand new Rectech smoker.
I told you you'd like it.
And I love it. I mean, I literally have never cooked as much as I'm cooking on the grill now. I mean, I always like to grill burgers, dogs, steaks, that kind of stuff. Now I'm like making ribs. I smoked a leg of lamb.
Yeah, leg of lamb sounded good.
Oh my God, dude. And it's funny because the effort is different, right? It's just making sure that you've done things right so the temperature doesn't spike, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise, you just turn it on and it goes.
It's like cheating, man.
Yeah, it is. It's cheating.
It's easy.
It's
right?
cheating. And
it's good flavor. Great flavor.
It's such great flavor. So I actually think that, if we can make this podcast more successful, I want to approach Rectech and be like, hey guys, like I've used your product. I had no experience. And now I'm making world-class food. So we need to talk more about that. Like, needs to be a discussion. But Kenny, I wanted to say thank you for telling me that I wouldn't blow my house up with the smoker, at least not yet. And man, that has been fantastic. So I can't wait to pair some of those things I've been working on mid to late summer with this fall season.
Yeah, I'm going to start it. Which I've got a couple different smokers. I've got a Rectech, I've got a Traeger, I've got my Holland.
Right.
But this season, man, it's the food season. For me, it's a food season.
It is. Get ready to pack on those pounds.
Yeah, but until Rectech comes through, we need to give a shout out to our current sponsor, Blue Chew. So
what? You better stop.
Had a hard time getting a hold of them, but they finally answered.
You had a hard time getting a hold of Blue Chew, huh?
But they finally replied.
Oh my goodness. Kenny's ultra happy. I wondered why you had that smirk on your face.
Ooh.
Oh my God, dude.
Speaking of hard times.
Yes, sir.
Did we have any reviews this week?
Oh, I don't even know. I can't stop laughing. If I can get it together here for 5 seconds, I'll let you know if we had any reviews, sir. Yes, we did have another review and shout out, and the title of this review was Good Friends and Good Bourbon. This is a 5-star review left on Apple Podcast for us by John S. And he said, really enjoy the show and how you keep it conversational and not snobby. I also appreciate that you do your best to keep it clean, so I don't have to worry about young kids walking in and learning new words. He said, we tried out Old Louisville on your suggestion on a recent Bourbon Trail trip and thoroughly enjoyed it. Nice. I would be interested in hearing your review of Still Austin Cast Strength Dragon's Milk Origin from New Holland Brewing. Didn't you mention that, Kenny?
Yes.
Okay. And he said, or Stellum Rye. Well, I can tell you this, John. Stellum Rye is freaking delicious. Let me continue with the review here.
You have bought multiple bottles of that.
I have. Each has surprised me recently. Nice. He said, my friends, including Jesse L. and others at Whiskey Mishaps A37, and I continue to use your podcast as a way to keep in touch and find good whiskey recommendations. Thanks for your show, John S. That's Man.
Look, I got cold chills. It just goes back to what I talked about the previous episode, man. It's just it's very humbling. It's really cool.
It is.
But I did try when I was in Michigan with Bourbon Junkies and Alves and everybody. He had some Dragon's Milk. Like, he had like 8 different ones. But
really?
I forgot which one I tried, but it was a toasted something.
Yeah.
And it was wild. It was bourbon, but it had like citrus notes like an Irish whiskey.
Okay.
So I'd definitely try some Dragon's Milk. And I do have, so one of the guys, I forgot to mention this, but one of the guys that was on the pick team with David Jennings, he lives in Virginia.
Okay.
And he is going to send us some Dragon's Milk samples.
Oh, wow.
So we will have that coming up shortly.
Oh, very good. Well, that's great. And John, like, hey, thank you for leaving that review. And I've noticed that a few of the folks from Whiskey Mishaps that he named there. So this is a group of college buddies. They left a review for us in the past, I think multiple reviews. They've listened to our show and used our show as a way to like stay in touch with one another and also recommend different types of tastings and things. Yeah. They are actually getting ready to launch their own show now called Whiskey Mishaps.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, their own bourbon podcast. So we wish them the best. That's really awesome. I've messaged with them a couple of times. I'm not sure if I think they're a couple episodes in now. So be good to go give them a listen as well, because that's a really cool thing to know that we had some small hand in inspiring them to sort of get together, bond over whiskey, and then continue that conversation by starting their own bourbon creation, which is nice.
Yeah, they probably listened to ours and said, what could we do better and different? So that was our inspiration.
Like, these guys, if they can do it, then we can, right?
Anybody can.
Anybody can. Oh, my God. Well, on that note, if you would like a shout out, just leave us a review on Apple Podcasts, Facebook, Instagram, wherever you can find us. Leave us a nice review, and we will give you a shout out the next time we record.
Ah, yes. That was a very nice review, though. That was really cool. Like I said, it's just humbling, man. It's pretty wild.
Yeah, it is. No, I mean, every single time we get one of those, I'm like, same way you are, brother.
And that's the thing. And you mentioned not being snobby. I mean, that's the thing about it, dude. Nothing. You can't be snobby.
You can't be.
I am, like I said, I'm a newbie anyway. Yes, I've jumped in deep and I've had so much good stuff. I'm very fortunate that way, but I've only been sipping bourbon, 4.5 years. And it's one of those things where the more I learn, the more I realize I don't know anything.
That's right. It's like
it's crazy.
It's the same way when you get a PhD.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I just think you're teaching the youth.
Right.
Poor youth.
Oh, poor youth.
I mean, no. But no, I mean, seriously, just, the more I learn, it's like, man, I really don't know like as much as I thought I knew.
Absolutely.
So it's definitely a very humbling hobby as well.
Oh, no doubt. No doubt.
So tonight, Anthony.
Yes, sir.
I'm feeling some Outcast vibes.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Just so fresh.
Oh.
So fresh and so clean.
So tonight we have a bottle of Fresh Bourbon. And this comes to us from the Fresh Bourbon Distillery right here in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. The bottle date is 2023, 24, not sure, somewhere in there and abouts. I'm not sure when we got this bottle. The ABV is 47.5. The proof is 90. This is non-age stated, but I think they have a statement on the bottle somewhere. Kenny, is there a statement on the bottle about the age of this anywhere? What does it say?
I don't know if on the bottle. I know talking to Sean and Tia when I met them or ran into them at Total Wine that they age to taste.
Age to taste. Okay, so age to taste. The mash bill is a very unique mash bill, and that's what they kind of sell as being one of the very unique things about this this bourbon. It's 60% corn, 20% honey malt, 10% malted wheat, and 10% malted rye. So we got a 4-grain here. And the MSRP on this bottle, if you were to go to a Total Wine or anywhere that this bottle is available on the shelf, is actually $49.99 in 2024. Kenny?
I see that you bought your bottle of this December 23rd of 2022, and you paid $45.49 plus tax at Total Wine.
So you're telling me it's gone up $5 since that time?
Even though you supposedly don't shop there anymore. This particular receipt is on your account.
Well, let me clear the air right here now.
You have earned 455 points.
Kenny, so you guys have heard us mention this before. We made jokes about Total Wine. This April will be my 4-year no Total Wine anniversary. It'll be 4 years. I actually, you know what? February. I think it's February.
Really?
Yeah, February of 2025 will be the 4-year anniversary of me leaving Total Wine and never stepping foot in there again. But you wouldn't know that because what Kenny has done is he has used my phone number to purchase items at Total Wine a few times over the last couple of years. So I am a staunchly against Total Wine. I mean, I guess if they threw a sponsorship dollars, which would probably be a cold day and HELL. And Kenny, how come you have a receipt for fresh bourbon from Total Wine? What happened? How did that transpire, sir?
Well, I was in Total Wine that day. I forgot what I was looking for. I might have went in looking for some rum. They actually have a decent rum selection there.
Okay.
And I saw Sean and Tia in the bourbon aisle.
Okay.
And they were signing bottles.
Of fresh bourbon?
Yep. And I went to school with Sean at Beaumont and Dunbar.
Nice.
So just kind of small talking with him a little bit.
Okay.
And I said, what better way to, pay homage to you is to use your phone number to buy a fresh bottle of bourbon that they signed.
Oh, my goodness. Well,
so tonight after this episode, I will present you with this bottle of signed fresh bourbon.
So that's mine to keep?
That is yours to keep.
Oh, my gosh. See, you're such a nice guy. I mean, if everybody could have a friend like you.
We haven't tasted it yet, so you'll see. You're like one of those keep your enemies close and your friends closer, whatever it's called. How's that saying go?
I think that's it. I think you nailed it.
All right.
But while we're talking about
fool me once, shame on
shame on you. Fool me, you can't get fooled again.
George Bush.
George Bush.
That's one of the funny. I love listening to that, dude. This is funny.
When I lived in Northeast Ohio, there was a guy that used to call the local radio station, and he had the weirdest accent, but he always used to be like, go, the Bush this and the Bush that, the Bush. And so they called him the Bush man. Oh my God. And he hated George Bush, and he called the local radio station and said all kinds of crazy stuff. And so the Bush man, you made me think of that. Holy cow. But so back to fresh bourbon here. So I'm looking at this bottle. It looks like somebody took a brick, right? Like the mold of a brick.
Yeah.
And they made a nice glass silhouette of it. And it says fresh on the front. It, of course, has a nice topper. And on the back, it's like a silhouette that goes through the front and the back of these two folks that are looking like they're dressed
like a guy in a tuxedo and a woman in like a nice, really like ballroom dress, a gown.
Right.
Nice.
It looks like they're going out to treat themselves to a nice evening, right? To have a good time. If you're looking
through the front of the bottle, that is kind of cool because you see the gold lettered fresh running from the top to bottom or bottom to top.
Yep.
And then on the left and right flanking it is the silhouette. So
yeah,
it's kind of a cool looking bottle.
I think they did a nice job with the marketing of this and the packaging of it. I think it looks really, really nice.
And I notice on here there's a hang tag. It says Micro Liquor Spirit Awards 2020 Gold Medal.
Oh, okay. So they entered a spirits competition and won a medal. Proudly display that on the bottle. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, I think it's a nice package. Like, I'm not going to lie. I like it. It looks good. So what do you know about Fresh Bourbon brand, Kenny?
Only thing I know Sean and Tia.
There you go.
Started it. Okay. They are out of Lexington. There was something, and I'm going to get this wrong, I'm sure, but it was like either the first black owned or first something owned or started
right
since for a long time.
Right. So African Americans were involved in the making of bourbon, and they never owned and produced their own whiskey. Yeah. So this is the first African American owned distillery in the state of Kentucky.
Okay, so it is the first in Kentucky.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
I knew there was something with the first.
Yeah, they definitely put that out there, and that's great. So you mentioned Tia and Sean Edwards. They're a husband and wife team, and they actually, you know them, and they're both graduates of the esteemed university that I work at. It's interesting because I think they founded their company in 2017, but they didn't actually release their first bourbon until 2020, which is kind of an unfortunate time to release bourbon. There's a lot of companies that released bourbon during COVID. A lot of people probably haven't heard of them, right? And they haven't heard of them because that very reason, that they're not around very long. Also, they launched during COVID. So they do have a tasting room, and they have plans for like a massive sort of footprint in downtown Lexington, Kentucky. Plan to have a distillery, things like that. Have you been down to their tasting room at all?
I have not, but I visited, like I went to their website and read a little bit about that.
Right.
And it seems like that tasting area, they push like cocktails down there a lot.
Right.
So that's the thing I can tell. I mean, there's another thing I know about them, I guess, is that it seems like cocktails, because I did listen to your interview.
Okay.
It was you.
I didn't get there yet. Nice. Go ahead, please. Yeah.
Is that, were you going to talk about that?
No, that's great.
Okay.
Yeah.
I listened to your interview. It was you, Sean and Tia, Bernie Lubbers.
No.
It's
John Vidal.
Yeah.
And Peggy No Stevens.
Yeah.
We did like a little.
They mentioned cocktails themselves a lot on
Absolutely.
air. So
yeah. They kind of market it like this. They say like they want everybody to experience fresh bourbon, right? And they know that everybody is unique in the way they want to consume bourbon. So they're very open about it. They kind of like say that Sean likes to drink bourbon neat, Tia loves cocktails, but you can drink it however you want it, right? They're like on the rocks, straight up, or in cocktails. But yes, when you go to their tasting room, they're definitely geared toward cocktails. They actually have like a unique recipe, I think, called the Fresh 5, which is like agave, 2 ounces of bourbon, and like either lemonade or lemon juice, I think it is. That's like one of their signature cocktails. So they definitely play that angle up a lot.
Yeah, so on the tag, on the inside of the tag, where it talks about that Gold Medal Award.
Right.
It says, mission at Fresh Bourbon. Our mission is to welcome everyone into the bourbon world.
Oh, nice.
Forget everything you've been told about how to properly, and it's in parentheses, drink bourbon.
Okay.
Fresh Bourbon is to be experienced and enjoyed how you, in all caps, want.
Okay.
So grab your bottle, and the first thing they say, mix it in your favorite cocktail.
Okay.
Pour it up neat, or serve it on the rocks.
Perfect.
And the fact that it pushes cocktail thing so much has me nervous about reviewing this tonight, because I don't want to crap on a local Lexington-owned place where I know the guy that started it.
But man,
you know, I'm honest.
I guess you got to take it with a grain of salt, no matter how you feel.
We'll see.
Does that mean we should start nosing this thing?
Let's nose, bro.
All right, here we go.
Oh boy.
Wow, it's very strong. When I say strong, I'm not talking about like we've nosed like a lot of strong whiskey. This has like a very grainy, malty nose to it.
Very grain forward, very young. A little bit of honey in there, so I guess that might be that honey. What say it was honey? What?
It was honey malt.
Honey malt.
I'll get to that here in a second, but I think that actually has a lot to do with that honey note that you're picking up. But it's an earthy honey note, right?
Yeah.
It's not like
it's not a sweet
honey note. It's earthy. So yeah, that nose has got me thinking about what that's going to taste like, and I'm not quite sure. So when we were talking about it, I mentioned Lexington, Kentucky as a place where they're hoping to distill. I don't know if they're distilling in Lexington or not. I do know that they were using Hartfeld and Company, which is a small outfit out in Paris, Kentucky, that has a decent-sized pot still. But what really makes their bourbon unique is they use honey malt, right? I had to look it up and find out if anybody else used honey malt. Do you know of anybody else that uses honey malt, Kenny?
I do not.
Okay. Well, I didn't either. The only thing I found when I Googled it was Rabbit Hole out of Louisville.
Okay.
You know, can't remember. They were bought by, I think, Pernod recently, like in the last couple of years. But honey malt is actually a unique thing produced by, I'm going to butcher this, is it Gambrinus Malting Corporation in Armstrong, British Columbia? It says the grain has an intense malt sweetness, free from roasted or astringent flavors, with a honey-like flavor and golden color. That's unique. So if nothing else, they definitely went out on a limb here, because they aren't following the standard of what most bourbon is, which is usually corn, rye, and malted barley, right? They made a concerted effort to have a really unique 4-grain mash bill that has rye and wheat in it and has this honey malt. So that's a lot of different things going on. And maybe that's contributing to why we nose this and we're like, what? What is this?
Yeah. I'm hoping the palate is better than the nose.
Yeah, the nose comes off as very pungent, and I'm not sure if I would call it inviting or not. Like, it's not really inviting. It's just kind of like, it's like nothing you've ever known before. It kind of goes, it's not like bourbon. It's not like malt. It's very unique.
Malt sweetness. I wonder, because I'm not a Scotch guy at all.
Right.
I just wonder how this, I wonder if this is like, and I don't know. I wonder if this is scotchiness to it or something too, because I don't like Scotch either.
You know, it's funny when you mention that, like, this is a really, I'm into telling some old stories tonight, but when I would go to my one buddy's house when we were like the in-between age of like, you know, we're in college, but we're not quite like old enough to buy our own booze and we're not like scheming or whatever. There was a time where there was a lot of Scotch built up in different parents' houses because they weren't drinking it, right? And so we would all try the Scotch. And I don't think anybody liked it, right? So it was like a means to like, okay, I wanted to drink some alcohol because I want a little buzz, but I'm going to drink Scotch. And it was not even palatable enough to drink, like Chivas Regal and stuff like that. And this does smack a little bit like that. And when I say it's not palatable to drink, I'm talking about myself. I'm not talking about like all the people that drink that stuff because it's wildly popular, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, regardless of what I think about this, I mean, there could be people out there that think like this is great, you know. So
like we talked about previous episode with the malt whiskeys, some people just don't like malt, you know.
Right,
so,
and that's the thing.
You know, that's the thing. It's so weird. Like Irish whiskey does not taste like Scotch,
right?
Even though they're both barley and malted barley. So, you know, you gotta find what you like and don't like. And I'm thinking I'm not gonna like this, but we'll see.
You ready for a taste?
No.
At least he's honest, ladies and gentlemen.
All right. Let's go in for a taste, bro.
Yeah, let's do it. All right. I'm ready for the analysis, sir.
I'm going to try to start with the positive first.
Okay.
Way more honey forward in the palate.
Right.
And that's all I got.
Right.
Ooh.
So
this draws me up, bro. It's all right.
Okay.
I'm going to let you go.
So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to take another sip. That was my first sip, and I'm
going to go look for something on the shelf while you do that.
Oh, you're okay. All right, sounds good. All right, here we go. So Kenny's finding the blind, and I'm flying solo here. So I'm going to take another sip, and I'm going to give you my honest analysis. Okay. So we have a honey sweetness, and it is a very interesting honey sweetness. It's an earthy honey sweetness that's at the very front of the palate, and the back palate almost disintegrates in a way, like into like a little bit grassy, a little bit grainy, a little bit hay and straw kind of comes through on the back. And that's really weird. After that dissipates, there's like another blip of sweetness, right? So it's like earthy, sweet honey, hay, grass grain, pop of sweetness at the end. And I don't know.
That is super accurate.
Yeah.
This reminds me of even like potentially a not as good hidden barn.
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like it really was just, this is so,
It's raw with the flavors, which makes me feel like maybe drinking this neat is absolutely not the way, right? Like this has to be mixed into something, and it like has me wanting, like, Kenny, if you're really gifting me this bottle, I'm going to be having to try this with different things. It's like that Fresh 5 thing and stuff, because I think standalone, I'm not sure if I could sit down and drink this, like just sitting neat, you know, not just being honest.
This is not a neat sipping whiskey at all.
No, not at all. I mean, I could see this appealing to some people. It's got some redeeming qualities. I will definitely give it that.
Sweetness
the honey sweetness, in a way, it like kind of goes in a little wave, but it's the problem is in the mid palate to the end of the palate, it just dissipates into like a hay straw grain. What's this?
Taste that just real quick.
Okay.
It's not the same. I just want to pour this out.
Yeah, whatever you poured me was like, you know,
it's
just okay.
Scotch.
It's Scotch.
It's got some of that just grain forward. I don't know, but I just want to try to pull something off, but it's still different than this.
I think it's that raw pot still distillate, honestly.
Yeah,
Well, another thing I wanted to say about it is they do also on their website, it talks about different things where they're aging in nano barrels. So aging in nano barrels, I don't know much about that, but they're talking like 6-gallon barrels as part of their aging process. So we talked before, I think, about how people try to age their own whiskey in smaller barrels and stuff like that. I don't know if that has something to do with it too, that affects the flavor. I'm sure it does.
That's the thing. So I don't do cocktails.
Right.
You know, if I go to OBC or somewhere, we'll grab one, I'll get something, or I'll try whatever Mossick orders. But I guess, I mean, you have more experience with cocktails than me. I guess this might make a good base for something because the honey sweetness. This is not sipping whiskey, bro.
No, it might not be sipping whiskey. It might be
good cocktail whiskey.
Cocktail whiskey.
And it truly might be.
And maybe that's what we're missing here.
I got something here for you. Here
okay. You got a blind?
I got something here, yeah. Hang on.
Okay, all right. I'm looking away.
We'll whip something up here.
Whipping something up.
Close your eyes.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes. Can't see anything anyway. What am I doing?
All right, you can open your eyes now.
Oh, okay.
Give me a second here.
What'd you do? You mixing stuff? Or
No,
mixology?
No, dude.
What is that?
What are you talking about, though?
Oh my God. I think I know what this is, Kenny.
Now try this.
Oh my God, what are you doing?
Let's try that.
Oh my God, I know exactly what you've done now.
Which one do you like better? The first one I gave you or the second one?
God.
I'm going to try the second one right now.
I don't like either of them. What have you done? So, I guess from a purely like standpoint of what I liked better, I think I liked the first one better than the second. But I think what you poured me was ever since you did that day at Hector's restaurant, man. This is Crown Blackberry, isn't it? It's got to be Crown Blackberry mixed with something. Is it blackberry? Is that what the Crown was?
Blackberry Crown.
Oh my God, that's what it tastes like. You know why? Because to me, it tastes like grape Kool-Aid. That's what I get on the palate.
All right, so I mixed. The very first one you had was fresh mixed with Crown Blackberry.
Okay.
Or Blackberry Crown.
I like that better than the regular Crown.
The second one was just Blackberry Crown.
Yeah.
So there you go.
So maybe it is better mixed,
maybe
right?
you can do a cocktail with it.
Oh my God.
But you sure can't sip it neither on the rocks.
Yeah. No, definitely. I wouldn't. I mean, I don't know.
You can't, man.
I don't know what rocks would do, but I wouldn't be.
You just can't, man. Sorry.
Yeah. So to sort of round us out here, the one thing I'm thinking about is the fact that they are going to probably change how they're distilling things and what they're doing. I like their brand story. I like the fact that they have a unique mash bill. I think there's maybe potential here, but the problem is like how old is this actual bourbon? How much better could it get? And I don't know, because we've tasted things and we're like, that might have potential. I'm not sure if this has potential or not. I'm not going to lie.
There's no aging you can do to this to make it good.
Not 10. You don't think it would turn a corner? Like, how do you think the honey malt ends up? Like, doesn't? You don't think so?
I mean, unless this is 2 to 4 years old,
right?
And you give it 10 to 12,
right?
Maybe.
And that's kind of what I was thinking. You know,
that's true though, because if you think about our malt whiskey stuff, man, it was bad at 8,
right?
But it's great at 13 to 15,
right?
So, but yeah, this needs 5 to 8 more years in the barrel or something.
That's kind of what I was thinking. And the other thing is like, I don't really know if they are doing any other products, if they're just doing this one. I would love to go down and actually still experience what they do with the cocktails, because I think that's kind of where they might be their wheelhouse, right? They're not priced. I mean, $50 is still expensive for a cocktail mixer, right?
See, that's the thing. And that's what I was going to ask you that. Like, I don't do cocktails, so I don't know, but I would think I don't want to pay $50 for a mixer, right? Don't you do like $15 to $20 mixers or? Right.
No, like honestly,
I don't know.
I'm not
a cocktail guy.
I think about it like this: when I'm making drinks for people and I want something that's high rye, or I want a rye, or I want this or whatever, I'm thinking about like Rittenhouse. I'm thinking about regular Buffalo Trace. I'm thinking about
OGD 114.
Yeah, OGD. I'm thinking of bottles that are between $20 and $35.
Yeah.
And those are saying that those will shine. Even Bullet Bourbon, right? Very underrated. But Bullet and Coke, like, you know how people are like Jim or Jack? Bullet and Coke is good. I had friends come down one year, like for the tournament down here, and they all just drank Bullet and Coke by the end of the weekend because they're all mixed drinkers. You know, they were like not about just drinking bourbon neat, but they all like Bullet and Coke better than they like Beam and Coke or Jack Daniels and Coke or whatever. So it's like, you got to know who you're competing with. There you go. So
you have water over there?
I do.
Drink a little water to get that Blackberry Crown out of your palate.
Yeah, I have to. That stuff's pungent. You know what? I have a bottle of that at home. Do you want it?
You know what it goes good with?
What?
Hirsch 25-year rye.
You gotta stop that. Do not. You're not. Are you literally going to mix this up?
I've done it twice. It's so good.
Kenny, you've gotten ridiculous. I mean, honestly,
try this.
Is this a 25? What is this now? You can't tell me yet.
I'll tell you. Let's try that.
That's actually not bad.
This should be great.
That's very good comparatively. There's no blackberry crown on that.
No, there's not.
There's not at all. I thought you were trying to fool me.
So I've gone an opposite way here.
Okay. So what have you gotten here? Because that's really, I mean, that tastes really good comparatively. Yeah. Are you going to blow my mind here?
Yeah.
Oh, God.
This is the Russell's Reserve 1998.
Come on, Kenny. Come on, dude.
Hey, man. You got to have something good. When something's so bad, you got to go the opposite way.
You just did like a pendulum.
It's like a $2,500 bottle.
You just took a dang
I got a sample. It's not my bottle.
You took a sledgehammer and smashed
Fortunately, got a sample through a charity event recently.
Are you serious?
So, yeah, this is a sample of that.
Holy cow. Well, thank you for sharing that with me.
It's one of the best turkeys out there, man.
Holy cow. 98. I didn't. That's one of the modern. Was that 19 years old? How much was it?
That was one of. That's the. I think that was the last one they made. That was their original older 107 barrel entry proof.
So it was like a modern day Dusty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh, that's good. I was gonna say, my goodness. That's why I was like, this is not Blackberry Crown.
102.2 proof.
Mess with me a little bit.
But it was entry proof at 107.
Yeah.
So I think it's 107. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 107. So it's barrel proof at like 102, I think.
That's pretty dope. I guess we're going to have to get to rendering a verdict here on the fresh bourbon.
Yeah.
So, Kenny, would you pass, try, or buy on this bottle of fresh bourbon whiskey?
I will have to pass on this bottle.
All right. That's fair. Here's what I'm going to say about it, because I always have a little bit of nuance to what I say, and I don't think Kenny's are wrong by any means, and I'm not trying to say anything just because I've met Sean and Tia.
And that's a tough part on this, man.
I've interviewed them.
Gosh,
okay.
I know.
I think what they're doing is unique, and I think that there is a place for what they're doing. For me, as a bourbon podcaster and a person who's been tasting whiskey for a long time, of course I'm not going to buy it. But I do think that there's potential down the road. We don't know how this distillate's going to turn out when it's aged longer, number one. Then number two, who knows? Maybe they reposition this a little bit. The price is a little bit different. And it is a premier whiskey that you want to use to mix in cocktails. If that's the case, then I get it. You know what I mean? But for people like us that are neat sippers that are trying to find like the next best thing in whiskey, I mean, yeah, man, this falls massively short.
So let me ask you this, because I'm also not a beer guy.
Yeah.
Like I drink bourbon.
Right.
Drink a little, whiskeys. I mean, I'm ventured into rum, little Armagnacs.
Right.
Irish whiskey, stuff like that. But so like I had some of the like beers before.
Right.
That taste kind of like they're sour or they're kind of punchy and all that.
Right.
Is this kind of like maybe like a beerish type notes on this? If you're a beer drinker, is this something that could transition you? Because they're trying to say that they're wanting everyone to experience bourbon, and this isn't bourbon like all of us bourbon drinkers taste.
Right.
But are they maybe? Is this have some kind of like beer kind of notes to it, with the honey and the malt that a beer drinker might transition to liquor instead or something? I don't know.
Well, it's really funny.
I'm just grasping for straws. Bro.
I really wish that we had Jason Hale here, because Jason is like the beer guru.
Yeah.
And when I looked up honey malt, was trying to understand what honey malt is and what it's used for and how it's made. I think it was on a brewer's website.
That's what I'm saying.
Brewer's website. So if you have a bunch of people that are making bourbon and nobody's used honey malt except for Tia and Sean and fresh bourbon, then you have to ask yourself, like, what's the value added there, right? And maybe that's what it is. Maybe it is something where it's like it transitions people over, because I'll tell you right now, if I handed that to my wife and said, knows this, is this bourbon? She'd probably say, no, it's not bourbon. What is this?
Right.
Your wife might say the same thing. And so maybe that's the angle. Like you transition people over for that when you get a chance to, I don't know, taste something different and mix it with something. So yeah, I got to imagine that's got to create a different tasting cocktail than something else you might use.
Right.
For better or worse.
Yeah. So I can't help it, man. It's got to be honest.
That's right. That's the word. Word is bond.
Boom.
Boom.
And with that, thanks for listening to this episode. Please like and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at The Mashup KY.
Don't forget to visit our partner, bourbonoutfitter.com. Enter code The Mashup for a special discount.
Also,
head on over to our partner, the Woodwork Collective, at woodworkcollective.shop. Enter code MASHUP for a 15% discount.
let us know your thoughts on this bottle in the comment section. Until next time, keep it neat.